dude, because okay, so I never do this, but I went on my YouTube trending for whatever reason, and number 4 was McDonald's commercial, and then number 10 was like something else related to it, and I was just, I don't know, I don't know why I decided to do it, but I had to see this Travis Scott burger, and then I clicked on it for, I don't know, whatever reason that was.
Yeah.
And I was just like blown away that it was just a quarter pounder with a Sprite and some barbecue sauce. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so the only thing that makes it his burger is barbecue sauce with the fries?
Well, do the quarter pounders usually have bacon?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know. So here's the thing. I don't actually go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
If I do go to McDonald's, it's for like the apple pies. That's pretty much like the only reason.
Oh,
So I don't know much about, their burgers or anything.
yeah.
I actually heard about the Travis Scott burger from Chris Webb.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So yeah. And then
I,
I saw the ad that you're talking about.
yeah.
And I think I saw it. So you sent me the video for 90210.
Yeah, yeah.
I think already watched the McDonald's ad, and I was
Oh my
like, oh, like
gosh.
it's kind of similar, the art style or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's the same. That's what reminded me of it. And then I was like reminded of what we talked about with the ending of that Lecrae song. But also,
Yeah.
I saw a good tweet that was like, "Why didn't they name it the Astro Burger with sicko fries, sicko sauce?"
Sicko sauce. That's funny.
It's
Am
totally
I lagging at all?
Yeah, you are. It's because I'm recording. So
Oh, okay. Okay, so it'll be synced up.
yeah, I can
Okay.
sync up because the audio is separate, so it's all good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, actually, I just watched a video today about Mulan,
Mm-hmm.
like the original Mulan, and how the Szechuan sauce came out.
Oh yeah, Rick and
How
Morty. Oh god.
Morty, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, like fast food is on this another level with their Twitter and their social media and their marketing. It's crazy. I mean, Travis Scott's been all over Sprite for a while now too, so it's probably
Yeah,
just the same parent company.
yeah.
I was listening to the new Big Sean album because it had a Travis Scott feature, and then I was checking out SZA, and she has a Travis Scott feature.
Mhm.
So I just can't avoid this man.
Yeah. Yeah, Sprite is also, I mean, it's kind of popular in rap
Hmm.
and like for black people. I'm not sure what it
Huh.
is. Like Sprite and 7 Up
Yeah.
seems to be the go-to drink that, people prefer.
7 Up was the first soda I was allowed to drink as a kid.
Mhm.
And for some reason, I don't know if my dad made a one-off joke that I like interpreted as like a rule of life, but it was like you can only drink 7 Up like after 7.
Mhm.
And I can never stay up after 7, so it was like a rare once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah. I don't see 7 Up much anymore. Like, I don't even know the last time I
Wow.
drank 7 Up.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, that's same here. Oh man. Well, this is the Nostalgia Test podcast, and soon we're gonna go and look back at an old album that one of us grew up with and see how it ages.
yes,
But before that, I wanted to introduce Myles, and I wanted to just like say I'm happy to be filming this again, like, and just to keep talking to you, and I just love that you're like a transparent and honest and smart and chill and fun and emotional individual and friend. And we were roommates through a lot of college, and it's great to be reconnected, even though we're half a state apart. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So cheers.
Dude, this would go well with some Sprite. I made some, so this is going to go in, something I watched was Palm Springs. It's a new movie. And
Mhm.
it's like a Groundhog's Day kind of movie, so you kind of relive the same day over and over. So it actually kind of works with the podcast, since this is our second try. But I got some mango iced tea.
Yeah.
I don't do the juice, but
Mango iced tea. I had some peach iced tea today, actually.
with white tea.
No, it was just peach. It's actually, I think I have the can downstairs. It's called Peace. My sister got it, and I saw it in in the fridge, and I was like, oh, that looks good. Can I have it? She
Wait,
said
are you
sure.
at home?
No, when I was at home, I brought it
Oh,
with.
okay, okay.
I held on. I held on to it till today.
It's like you brought the bookcase with Iron Man and everything.
This is a this is an anatomy model.
Oh, I legit thought that was Iron Man without
Yeah,
arms.
that's an anatomy model. That's
That's
funny.
great.
I wish
Well,
I had an Iron Man thing.
well, let's do a little reaction to this the Scott burger.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man.
So what we have here is I'm gonna start off by saying it doesn't really look that appetizing, which I think is very conventional for burgers. You know, usually they like the advertising makes it look really good,
Mhm.
and when you get it, it doesn't look as good.
Did they
So
come
for
with an
everyone,
action figure of him?
no action figure.
Oh,
That
that
would have
would have
been
been
nice.
good.
For everyone watching, this is what it looks like.
Oh, God.
So, all
Oh, man.
right, I'm going in. Also, it's ketchup on the burger. I thought it would be barbecue sauce on the
I
burger.
think that's for the fries. Is
Yeah, I
yeah,
got the barbecue sauce in the back.
nice.
All right, we're going in.
What percentage of beef would you estimate?
Like real beef versus fake beef.
Sure.
I don't know. It's pretty real. I give it at least a 75.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not a big fan of lettuce
Yeah.
in general and on burgers. And there is a decent amount of like lettuce on this.
Mm.
Um, but there's enough ketchup that the lettuce is ground out. So I think that's a positive. I'm a fan of
And you know
pickles.
that comes down to like location by location. You know, there's some managers that go probably heavier on
Yeah,
the ketchup.
yeah. I wish there was like a better sauce than ketchup.
Mm.
Because you have Travis Scott. I think that calls for something new
Yeah.
and something original. But the best they came up with was ketchup.
You want like an ad lib in every bite. You want like you're
Yeah,
like it's lit.
yeah.
All
I want to
right,
do
like
that.
you got to mix it up.
That's exactly the feeling that I want. I want to like bite in and be like
Yeah.
tasting Travis Scott. I want to know that this is a Travis Scott burger.
Oh man.
But as far as McDonald's burgers go, like I said earlier, I don't eat McDonald's burgers,
Hmm.
but this burger is not bad. So I know it's limited time only. It's only $6. This meal is only $6, which I feel like is pretty decent. So I
Hmm.
wouldn't mind going back to it, but nothing special.
Man, Big Macs used to be. I would put those away in high school, but it's been probably since then since I've had those.
My go-to was snack wraps. I don't know if you ever had snack
Yeah,
wraps.
those are good. I
Yeah,
love
some
those too.
barbecue snack wraps.
I felt healthier getting those, so I got those most of the time.
Yeah. Did you ever have this Southwest style chicken sandwich?
No, I got the chicken strips were like my go-to, and then they took them
Yeah,
away for like all of high school, and then they came back a few years ago.
yeah. I used to get the Southwest style chicken sandwich,
Hmm.
two snack wraps,
Ooh.
fry, and two apple pies.
Oh
That was
my
like,
gosh! Wow, that's a Travis Scott meal right there. I mean, he's built, you know.
yeah, that boy he's not lean.
I thought they would do something, you know, like it's just kind of stupid to put his name on something and then it's just a quarter pounder with bacon, but
Yeah.
maybe that's what he orders. Maybe it is legit.
And I wonder, like, I don't see this is the thing because I don't know the pricing at McDonald's. So I wonder,
Mhm.
pricing wise, if it's just a quarter pounder, maybe they change the price a little bit to get people, more interested in buying it.
Yeah, I
But
know. Like last time I got like a decent meal, there was this like McDonald's app. They still have it, I'm sure. And my roommate in Minneapolis was like, "Yo, they have dollar Big Macs right now." So
mm,
literally, we just dropped $1 and got a Big Mac.
mm.
But I mean, you know, obviously that's like to get you in the door.
Yeah, what do you think Lecrae's um his order would be from a restaurant or from any fast food restaurant? Like, what do you think he would be sponsored by?
Well, I mean, I saw him talk highly about Chick-fil-A and he was quizzed about their morals. But
Mm,
he did talk with the CEO and he did hug him
mm-hmm.
on an interview.
During a
Yeah,
pandemic.
yeah. Like right after George Floyd, they like had him on. They were gonna
Yeah.
have on a few other people. Yeah, that was the famous interview with Giglio and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or infamous.
Mm-hmm. I just see Chick-fil-A. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I guess what else? I want to say Popeyes, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like that might just be me liking Popeyes.
No, I mean, dude, I was just listening to All Things Work Together, which I have. I have increased my set a little bit, and he has that line. I never caught it in Facts. That's like, "Yeah, I'm real black. I'll still eat at a chicken shack" or something like that.
Yeah,
And then at the end, it like that sample is like chicken shack. It's like a magic dream or something.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be chicken something.
And isn't there? I thought there was a Popeyes reference in that song or on that album. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Popeyes is popping off, as they
I've
say.
only been once, and it was good. It was kind of pricey though, but it was good.
Yeah, I really like the chicken sandwich actually,
Hmm.
and I think I can say that confidently because I didn't get the chicken sandwich while it was popular.
Hmm.
I got it after it was popular, and so
Nice.
I know I wasn't being influenced by anyone else.
Ugh. I when you said you were eating, I was like, I'm kind of hungry. So what's like something just something easy? So I got these out of the pantry, so I'll be munching a little bit.
Nice,
They're baked with
full
whole
grain.
grain, so
Yeah, I respect that.
and they have a little. Dude, these guys are so cute. They're all tucked in. They
But
have
yeah,
like some crazy goldfish flavors though. I feel like every company is just expanding.
yeah,
Have you checked out any new music? Because I've been going hard. Like I'm just getting into because of the internet. Because Dissect just started their coverage, and I was
yeah. I
reading
saw
the
that.
screenplay along with it. Like he has a whole like 5 act play he's written with like Rick Ross as his dad and Chance as his friend,
Mm.
and it's like really cool. And then Dissect has this like visual guide when you listen to it, and it shows you, or before or after really, but it shows you like everything they reference, like every interview, every like live video, every interview, every quote, every artwork. It's like really cool to like. It went through all of his old mixtapes, his old comedy sketches, his old stand-up bits from
Mhm.
Community, interviews, like pre-release info about the album, Instagram posts, the freestyle on Sway in the Morning that he did over that Drake beat, all this
Yeah, I
stuff.
remember that.
Like I wasn't following him. I knew him from like a few EDM songs he was on, and then like his hits. But it's like same thing with Lecrae, and like I'm going back and finding all this old music. And J Cole's next on my list after I think Gambino. So
Actually, I was going to say I listened to Born Singer today.
oh,
So that was new, and I think it's pretty good.
mm-hmm.
So the one thing I would say about it is it's kind of interesting because J Cole is another old rapper. We were talking about Lecrae being like
Mm-hmm.
an older rapper, and
Yeah,
J Cole is older than I think you would expect.
mm-hmm.
And so listening to Born Sinner, which isn't actually that old, I think it's only from like 2013 or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I compare that album to his more recent stuff, and he
Yeah,
sounds younger,
mm-hmm.
not just like his voice, but like the things that he's talking about,
Yeah,
the way that he's rapping, the beat, and stuff like that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I do like it. I liked it a lot, um,
mm-hmm.
and I'll have to listen to it, a couple more times to figure out where I would place it among
Yeah,
the other albums that I've listened to. But I really enjoyed it. I was impressed because like I was saying, I think older rap sometimes it's hit or miss, like from that
yeah,
era, from that techno type era. It's kind of hit
yeah,
or miss, but he put some craft into it, so I appreciated that.
yeah. Have you heard his new singles for his next album?
The Lewis Street ones,
Yeah, those are cool.
yeah, I like those. They're mellow, but
Yeah,
he's also like going in at the same time.
yeah. I'm interested to see what he talks about. Because I liked KOD. I didn't like love it, but I liked a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I've actually been listening to 2014 Forest Hill Drive. I've listened to it before, but I probably
Yeah.
listened to it twice this week, and that's another one that I have been enjoying as well.
Dude, I
So
was like working out and on my playlist that song, I think it's No Role Models. That one came on and that's like such like I listened to the lyrics for the first time. I wasn't just like bumping it and it was so deep.
yeah, yeah, I think like that whole album. I don't know. I would be interested to dig into it a little bit more
Yeah.
because I know like there's very clearly a story for like For Your Eyes Only.
Hmm.
And KOD has some like emerging themes that I think are kind of easy to pick up on.
Yeah.
I just don't know as much about 2014 Forest Hill Drive. That was
Hmm.
kind of before I got into mainstream rap.
Yeah.
Um, so I never listened to it at the time. And when I started listening to J. Cole, it was For Your Eyes Only.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna have to dig into that for sure.
It's cool, like, because I was just listening to Big Sean's new album, and he has like a lot of Detroit references, and then like I know J Cole's like North Carolina, and then Chance talks about Chicago, and Lecrae has like Texas and Atlanta, and it's just cool to see how there's like slightly different flavors. When like 5 years ago, if you asked me, I'd be like, this is hip hop, but nowadays it's like there's so much interesting stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you though. I've driven through Fayetteville and where J. Cole is from, and
Hmm.
I feel like it didn't live up to what I was expecting based on the music.
I was thinking about that too because I was like, dude, like, there's so many songs that are about love, and like, love is a big part of life, like romantic love, but like, I feel like it's almost dramatized, or like, a lot of music is kind of showing the highlights of life, or like, you know what? It's really like, it's like telling a story. It's not just being honest all the time. It's just like, I don't know, what's the word I'm thinking of, but
Surreal.
no, like, what's the word when you're like trying to like talk up a story and make it sound better than it is?
Exaggerating.
Sure, yeah. I hate when you're with those words, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean that the song "Wet Dreams." That's pretty much what that is. What you're talking
Hmm.
about. Like that's a very surreal, expression of romantic feelings, which I think
Yeah, yeah,
me like that connects because like I think most people go through something similar to that where
yeah.
you're kind of caught up in your emotions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's nice to play into that.
Yeah, like I was checking out SZA, and she has a song with Kendrick that's all about like wanting a girl just for sex, and like it sounds super explicit, but then I looked up the Genius, and it was like a song about how you should really go for like true love and not just like pleasure. And then like I was reminded of like swimming pools, and we talked about in Anomaly there's like some similar stuff going on
Mm-hmm.
where it's like at the surface it seems kind of shallow, but then it's like the opposite. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, another I really wanted to shout out this show I finished the first book or season of, called Infinity Train, and it's a cartoon, but it's like so super deep. Like it's like so good, and it's really short and sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like am getting really sucked into that world because like you basically go through a train car and you're kind of dealing with like this deep problem. So like the first season, it's about this like middle schooler going through her parents' divorce and like dealing through the trauma of that, but it's this like one of the characters is like a king of corgi topia, and he's like a corgi with a crown, and there's this like robot with a split personality and two voices, and it's just awesome.
So it focuses on different people in the car.
Yeah, so like, well, I think each season, or they call them books, is like a different set of characters, which is kind of interesting because it's like the same universe, but it's like a different cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just saying books. Obviously, that reminds me of Avatar because
Oh yeah, that's really
I
high
thought
on my list too, because yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm watching that one with Caroline. We both like have been wanting to watch it our whole lives, and then once it came to Netflix, all of our friends were both like, so we were like, all right, like let's watch this together. So it's on our list.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I also the same people who made Avatar made Dragon Prince on Netflix, which doesn't quite capture the same. Um, well, actually, it's only one person from Avatar who made
mhm.
Dragon Prince, but it doesn't quite capture the same, surrealness. But it's also a quality story. So, would also recommend that.
Have you done the barbecue and fries?
My fries. So McDonald's fries, I think, are pretty solid.
Hmm.
I usually don't use any sauce
Oh,
because they put I think the right amount of salt.
I
Uh,
actually agree. I always do that too.
I got the sauce for the nuggets.
Mm. Because they have sugar on the fries. That's like their secret.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So they're salty and sweet, and that's like ketchup has sugar, so you don't need the ketchup. Oh,
Are you you take your food item and you dip it into your sauce, or do you pour it on top?
oh yeah, I dip it. Even with like Chick-fil-A, I would like dip the sandwich into the sauce,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know where I got that from. Probably a friend. I mean, sometimes I do the pour with the sandwich, but
Yeah. Some of my earliest memories, not really, but one of the earliest memories, maybe like 6 or 7 or something like
Mhm.
that, is my mom having fries from McDonald's and pouring the ketchup on top
Oh
and
wow.
eating it out from there.
Yeah, that I have an image of like from like either a cartoon or a show where they just like dump all the ketchup on the top, and I always thought that was like a weird idea. You're just gonna get messy.
Mm-hmm. And I think I've met someone here in State College who like goes all out on ketchup, like just straight up drenches the fries.
Ooh,
Not pleasant to look
dude,
at.
I tried. There was this like delicacy of ketchup I saw in the grocery store. It was ketchup with like black truffle, and I was like, that sounds like it's got to be good. If it's like if I'm paying more and it has black truffle, I don't know what truffle or black. Like it was awful. It was the weirdest thing ever. Threw it
Yeah,
out.
isn't that like chocolate, like truffle?
I don't know, man. I mean, there's chocolate truffles, but this was more like the truffle your pig finds under a tree that's like a plant.
Oh, the mushroom.
Yeah. Well, they're called truffles. I don't know. Um, Wait, let me get this product right.
That's too extreme for me.
Yeah, black summer truffle.
Black summer truffle.
Truffles are a unami rich and other up the kind they offer up the kind of deep complex flavor profile most often associated with indulgent holiday comestibles. Damn Trader Joe's. Anyway,
Umami's pretty good. Like that's I think that's the ideal flavor. I think in the technical sense. So
yeah.
it's got that going for it.
Oh man. Man, today I literally spent like so much time just digging into Lecrae. I watched his new documentary. It's just on YouTube. It's just like a making of his new album, but it was dope.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a prelude to his book, which I didn't realize isn't out yet. But I'll tell the story again, even though you know it a little bit. But when his new album came out, I didn't like a few of the singles, like Zombie mainly. But he actually like the cool part for me as like a music fan. In the documentary, a lot of the songs were like stripped back, so he would just play like the piano to Zombie in parts of it, or just like some of the instrumental elements, and just like make it very moody with the documentary, and it had all this background music and stuff, and I loved that subtle design choice when they were making it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then when the album came out, I just kind of let the few songs I didn't like take the rest of the project down, and I was also coming off of Let the Trap Say Amen, which to me, like I criticized it as like a Christian cash grab of like just adding Christian lyrics to like popular Atlanta beats, which I realize he lives there now and like it's Zaytoven and it's like something for the culture. It's not just like how I saw it. It
Mm-hmm.
was also more me just like growing up and not liking that sound and getting tired of hearing Migos and Little Everything and Young Everything. And then I also thought it was like he was like a little too old to be like making music that sounded like that. So anyway, I listened to the first. I skimmed through. I didn't even listen to Restoration, even though it's only 40 minutes. And then I
Mm-hmm.
like unsaved it, which is usually death to me listening to something again on Spotify. But I came back thanks to you and doing this episode for Anomaly, and I love it. It's like it means something to me, and hearing him talk about it, what the album is like a safe space just makes
Mm-hmm.
me like super excited to like look into the lyrics, and hopefully I'm gonna get the book, or I know I am. I'll probably pre-order it soon. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I like the term safe space. And I
Hmm.
is that something that he used when he was describing it?
Yeah, in the documentary and in his Breakfast Club interview.
Yeah, because I think it goes back to Anomaly as well, and
Hmm.
all things work together. I've never thought about it that way, but I think that is a good way to describe what I think Lecrae is trying to create in his
Hmm.
music, especially in Anomaly. Because I
Yeah.
think Anomaly, he's coming out and he's saying, I'm an anomaly, but we're all anomalies and we're all, unique. And
Hmm.
this is a place where we can come together and be unique
Hmm.
in our own ways,
Yeah.
and help learn about each other and about ourselves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That seems
Well,
to
yeah.
be what he's about, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't know, like my favorite songs, Self Discovery is my favorite. I don't know if you saw that I put up that cool lyric video.
Yeah.
I just like love that hook and the lyrics. I just love even the start of the song, just like talking about his family history.
Yeah.
And then Deep End is like probably my second favorite. And then I love Saturday Night. I wish it was like longer and had more bars, but I love the melody. Something about it's probably not even that the song is objectively good. It's just something sparks in my brain that's like I love this.
Mm.
But I love how that goes into Sunday Morning. And then I love like well, Still Only Human and Nothing Left to Hide are all just really good songs. But Nothing
Mm.
Left to Hide is probably my third favorite. And Set Me Free, that song is great too. And do you know what that samples? Is it like a gospel song?
Yeah, it's I think it's what's the name? Mary Mary Shackles, which
Mm-hmm.
is a great song. Um, Shackles off my feet so I can dance. Just
Yeah,
want to praise them. Great song. One of my
yeah,
all-time favorite worship songs, gospel songs.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that was his first single. And so when I heard what's interesting about I guess this album because Set Me Free that includes a sample, and Deep
Mm-hmm.
End also includes a sample. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was one of those situations where they both Lecrae and the other guy who used the Deep End
Mm-hmm.
um, lyrics. I don't know if they both had it at the same time or Lecrae heard the song and decided to do something with it himself. But I like that he's doing something unique with
Mm-hmm.
the beats that he's coming up with, and
Yeah.
using them kind of to fit him, like
Mm-hmm.
for him to explain himself. And so that kind
Yeah.
of goes with what you were saying with the trap say amen, where like the beats, especially if you compare Restoration to Anomaly, they're not like super similar, but it
Mm-hmm.
does feel like more expression of Lecrae
Mm-hmm.
on Restoration compared to Let the Trap Say Amen. Like it's actually who he is, and he's just being
Yeah.
real vulnerable.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking because like Kendrick, I heard it described that like Pimp a Butter or Good Kid, Mad City is like Kendrick's story, and then To Pimp a Butterfly is more for like America and for his fans and for like culture,
Yeah,
and then Damn is more about like changing yourself, whereas To Pimp a Butterfly was like changing the world. And I feel like you could say similar things with like Anomaly is like looking out and changing the world and speaking about issues. And then
yeah,
like Restoration seems a lot more personal. And All Things Work Together seems a little bit of both, I'd say.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're talking about all this new stuff. So give us like the history of Lecrae and also how you got into him, and like just take us way, way back to the very first.
Yeah, sure. So, well, first, let me point out Drew was just talking about Lecrae's newest book, and I have Lecrae's second newest book,
Mm.
which is Unashamed. My dad got this for me. Came out in 2016, and so a lot of it was his most recent book after Anomaly came out, and so a lot of the content on there is in this book.
Mm-hmm.
But he also just kind of talks about his life and stuff like that. So Lecrae, I was introduced to Lecrae from a very, very young age. Again, from my dad, just seeking a way to still enjoy the music that he grew up with and that he was comfortable with, but also uh, have it fit, his beliefs in what he felt was glorifying God. And so Lecrae was probably one of the more predominant, or it certainly has been one of the most predominant influences on my life from a young age. I mean, I think the earliest songs I remember listening to are Jesus Music, which is probably his most well known older song,
Mm-hmm.
um, and Praying for You, which we talked about last time, which is I feel like more similar to some of his more recent music in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like the content and just being true to the things that he struggles with and the things that he experiences. Um, so ever since then, I've kind of been on that journey with him, and I didn't really start listening to music for its own sake. For a while, I would basically just listen to what my dad had, in the car on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But that changed when I got Anomaly, when Anomaly came out in 2014, and that was that's the most recent physical album that I have. So I have a lot of memories like listening to it in our basement and trying to just thinking about the songs and trying to understand them. And there's a lot of songs that I think I could relate to different people in my family. Like my mom has a lot of, or not a lot, but a few favorites that like when I hear this song, I think of
Mm-hmm.
my mom because this
Yeah,
is
that's
a
great.
song that my mom liked. So yeah, definitely a lot of history with Lecrae for sure. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, he's probably one of the top five top three maybe influential people in my life just because of how much time I've spent with him
Hmm.
listening to the music. Um, so yeah, good guy.
Yeah. Did you get me into him for the concert? Because I remember you were like definitely doing a big, trying to gather whoever of our friends would go, like from just anybody, just an open invite. But
Yeah, I had obviously I had never seen Lecrae before, and I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go regardless. And seeing that we were in crew, I figured people would want to go, so I just started asking people to come with us. Um, and that was a fun night. I think that wasn't my first concert because Kendrick was my first concert, but
mm, mm,
that
mm.
was both Kendrick and Lecrae. I consider like those are my actually those are the only two.
No,
Those are the
dude,
only two concerts.
you're lucky. So many rappers don't even like they like have the backing track under them so you can hear their
Yeah,
voice and you can hear them rapping. So it's like Lecrae and Kendrick were two of the only rappers I've seen that like have live musicians and like the DJ plays like the song without their lyrics, which to me is
mhm,
like a no like why no duh like why would you not do that?
yeah,
But a lot of rappers just like are lazy. If they
yeah,
show up, I've had three or four either show up like late or not at all, like legitimately.
yeah.
Ugh.
And I think people can argue, about who has better music and who's the better rapper between Kendrick and Lecrae. But honestly, like both of their shows are really good.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I say that like particularly in praise of Lecrae because obviously he's a smaller artist,
Hmm.
and the venue was smaller and they probably had less
That
money to work with and
that
stuff
makes
like
all the
that.
difference. Like if Kendrick
Yeah,
was in that small like venue, that would have been. But he could never do that. We were in the
yeah,
nosebleeds.
yeah. So it was great.
Hmm.
I'm glad we went to that.
Yeah, like that's literally how I got into his music. Like I remember listening to All Things Work Together over and over, and I loved like Destination. I forget the like what's the front name of that
Yeah,
song.
can't stop me now.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved Facts. I loved Blessings. I loved everything. I loved 828 because the concert. That was one I wasn't like huge on. The only one I don't like is like Can't Catch Me or like Try and Catch Me or I forget.
I think I know what you're talking about,
Oi! I can't. I'm chained. I'm chained to you.
but yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but a couple of weeks ago, I actually saw a live stream concert of Lecrae.
Really
Um,
nice.
so he did a live stream concert of this most recent album,
Ooh, I'll have to
but
check that.
before that, he did a concert with it was with Crew, and they were just bringing in different artists,
Hmm.
and so I tuned in to see him. It was kind of funny because you know how we're doing right now, like sitting in front of our computers talking.
Yeah.
He was doing that, but rapping.
Oh my gosh!
Had the
Wow.
headphones in and stuff like that, and just rapping set me free. And I was kind of disappointed, not because of him, but I
Hmm.
feel like they could have. I feel like he had more that he could do. It
Hmm.
just because of the constraints of the event, like that's what they told him to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your point about like him, being adept with live music and stuff like that, he's like a legitimate artist,
Yeah.
so he could have done that.
Yeah, I mean, that show to me was fun on like two levels. Like, I don't know if I've ever bought more merch. I bought this shirt, I bought that windbreaker jacket, and I brought the CD. I was crazy.
Yeah,
But like I mean, he opened up with like openers that were on the album and that were on his label and all, his friends. They were awesome. They played for like 15 minutes, which to me is like I've never seen that. Usually it's like 30 minutes or an hour, which can be kind of boring. And there was a line around like he has the most dedicated fans too.
mm-hmm.
Like I've never seen that. Like I was like, guys, we're fine, but like you guys were right. I remember. And we
Yeah,
went with a
it was,
great group, like my sister and like
yeah,
old friends, new friends, friends I didn't know. Oh,
yeah. It was also cool seeing people that we knew
mm-hmm.
in the line. I don't remember if you remember that, and I forget who it was, but I think it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember like we were coming up, and there was a couple people that like I recognized in the line. I was like, "Hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
up?" We were all there together. It's pretty
Yeah.
dope.
But the main reason I loved it is just his singing and the way he would talk in between the songs, and he would like set them up with like visuals sometimes or like a monologue. He
Mm-hmm.
had like feature like female backup singers. He had like the DJ that would spin in like hip hop songs and samples. He had the pianist, the drummer, the guitar. Like it was like a band. And the
Yeah,
weekend did that, and ASAP Rocky and Kendrick, but not to like that intimate. Like I think it being in a theater, it was just so good.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's only the one of two concerts I've been to, but I have
Hmm.
no regrets about missing any other concerts because I think that was pretty dope.
Yeah,
Except maybe Chance.
that was good. He had a bigger band even. He had like a choir. Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, I put Chance up there, but Lecrae, that was worth it for sure.
Yeah, and the cool thing with the I was seeing it was I don't know if it was a video about Anomaly. I forget what it was I was watching today, but he said that basically the Anomaly tour he like wanted to make the live show, which I wish we had gone to obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um like something that could change somebody's life and really like help somebody out.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that level of production, he had to spend more money than each ticket was making. So he lost a lot of money on that tour, but he did it just to like help people. And I think
Yeah,
he said that was part of the reason that like, he got kind of drained, but he wants to do that again too and like show people with restoration that they can be restored. But
yeah, yeah. I wish our circumstances were better
mhm.
in terms of our in terms of public health, so that
Mhm.
concerts would be more
Yeah.
feasible. Because I mean, as soon as I heard that he was releasing an album this year, which was I don't know maybe February or March,
Mhm.
I was already starting to think about I would go down to DC or
Yeah.
wherever he wanted to go. I would go down to see him.
Mhm.
So maybe it'll just be postponed a little bit.
Yeah, next year might be really tight with concerts like every day.
But
I mean, everybody's gonna, all the musicians.
yeah.
But it's cool because I think the tour we went on really changed my life. Like that was one of the biggest, like character changing moments of that year. I think, like legitimately, it was really building,
Mm-hmm.
and it was one of the first things because I think I was into like Kendrick really heavy that year because that was, yeah, we saw him that year.
That was
So yeah,
him.
damn had come out. But I don't know, like I think in 2016 was like the first year I was kind of like learning about like I don't know, like black culture sounds a little bit like I'm innocent and naive. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, that's not a normal thing to really understand coming from like the country, like I did. Like, I knew a
Yeah.
few black people like that I was friends with, but like, I don't know. I definitely had a much more intimate experience, like becoming a fan and watching like 3 hour interviews with like Kendrick and stuff, and going to see Chance live and like becoming more ingrained in like hip hop culture, and I would DJ all the time too. So and thanks to you too to getting me into a lot of this stuff too, like even just
Yeah.
blasting the Augs after classes.
Yeah.
Ah, such good times.
Yeah. I would actually say something similar as what you were talking about, just like this being a platform for learning more and getting more exposure. Actually, similar thing to Lecrae. So we talked about church clothes last time, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the other songs that Lecrae has that weren't as well received um, in like very conservative Christian circles,
Yeah.
and particularly like church clothes is one. Lecrae has a freestyle that they did at the BET Awards
Mm-hmm.
in 2011, and I remember that coming out, and there was nothing explicit or
Mm-hmm.
anything that Christians theoretically should have a problem with.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's rapping alongside these other guys." I think Nicki
Mm-hmm.
Minaj was
BT.
actually in that,
Mm-hmm.
but he's rapping alongside these other people. He shouldn't do it. But for me, like I had only listened to Christian music at that point in my life, and so hearing Lecrae spend time with people who weren't Christians
Mm-hmm.
and rap in contexts where he was surrounded by non-Christians, kind of helped me first to just like on a music level start opening my ears a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. And Kendrick probably was one of the first people because I knew about their relationship with
Yeah.
Lecrae and Kendrick, and just kind of branched out from there. But also
Mm-hmm.
like in I guess a spiritual sense as well, which kind of goes to Lecrae saying like I'm not a Christian rapper, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
Lecrae.
Yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that kind of starts to bridge the gap between like I don't think about people as non-Christians, like I just think about them as people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I think that's what Lecrae is about as well.
Oh,
Um,
totally. Like he's denounced a lot of like the American version of Christianity, and he talks about that all the time. I mean, he said like going to Egypt was like the biggest thing for him,
yeah,
and just seeing that like Christianity, there's like offshoots of it in Japan before it hit Europe, and like
mm,
we kind of associate it with like this European like kind of dogmatic, hierarchy kind of nationalist kind of thing. But yeah, it's a lot deeper than that, and I think too with Lecrae and with Kendrick, they both kind of, and a lot of rappers or a lot of just like artists, they kind of just speak to like so a lot of Lecrae and Kendrick both grew up super poor. Like Lecrae specifically didn't really have a father most of his life, and on the surface, I shouldn't really be able to relate to that, but he talks about being an outsider and being an anomaly, and I do relate to that as like a homeschooler. My whole life my biggest issue has been like having trouble fitting in and like having an identity, and like a part of me wants to be super weird and unique, but the other half of me wants to be like normal because I've never really felt normal in my life. Even as a young adult, I'm struggling with that, even though I'm like 6 years separated from homeschooling.
Yeah,
It's really strange, but that's why I think I like this album so very much. Um, and like a lot of the songs speak to other things too that I can relate to, and it helps me even learn more and have more empathy for people that aren't like me.
yeah,
On the flip side, it's not like I'm just taking Lecrae and squeezing him for what I want. It's like I can also learn about him and other walks
yeah,
of life.
yeah. Now I would say the same thing. You know, being a black kid living in a predominantly black community and going to a school that was predominantly white,
Mm-hmm.
like that feeling of anomaly. You know, actually, it went both ways of being feeling like I stood out amongst the people that I was surrounded by.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it particularly like, so my junior year of high school, I wrote a thesis about whether or not Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream had been achieved
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, reaching racial justice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that 2014, that's when this album came out.
Yeah.
And so I had already been thinking about, you know, some of those ideas about how I fit in, you know, with my classmates and these sort of environments that I should fit into, should not fit into, you know, where I belong,
Right.
those
Right.
sort of things. And I think this came at a very appropriate time for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which at the time, you know, when I listened to this, I don't think I thought about it like that. I was just like, you know, this is good
Mm-hmm.
music. But you know, thinking back on it and you know, hearing what you just said, I think it probably does. It probably did, you know, go right alongside that journey that you know I
Mm-hmm.
was on, and figuring out how to express myself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you know, it's not even just the lyrical content. To me, sometimes I can just relate on like a spiritual energy level, which sounds really weird and like hippie and stuff. But like literally, like you can kind of hear somebody's soul in how they sing and what kind of
Yeah,
music they put out, and you can kind of relate to it on like a subconscious level, even as a kid, and that can kind of suck you in. Like now, every time I hear the like, well, this is stupid, but like every time I hear the Mario theme song, I just get like happy. It's like you can set up those like things as a kid that that's actually a separate thing. I totally lost what I was saying.
yeah. I think like what we've talked about "Broken" being a song that sounds like a worship song, and so
Mm-hmm.
in the context of it being a rap album, it's harder to connect to. But the good thing, one of the good things about that song is that I think you really can understand that feeling of Lecrae feeling broken
Yeah.
and you know trying to figure out what to do about it and celebrating in the fact that God can heal him. Um, so I mean that, like you were saying, that permeates throughout the whole album. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a theme of him, you know, feeling broken down.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
he expresses that I think super well.
Yeah. Cool. Let's take it from the top, I guess, with Outsiders, flipping it from Broken. But
Let's do it.
dude, I listened to this again today. It had been a little while, and oh man, like again, it's almost like the same thing I was trying to say about like the soul of the song. But there's
Yeah,
like the with Outsiders, there's this obvious grandiose aspect to it, and I was kind of imagining Anomaly being a really good album for a live tour, and I was like sad I couldn't see that or go to a show. But like as an opener, especially, there's like the symphony, the strings, very orchestric, and it feels like a movie soundtrack. And
mm,
then I love the singing on this song, and let me actually pull up the lyrics too before I get too far ahead. But then my favorite part too is like Lecrae's dynamic rapping, because it's kind of like he has the typical rap verse, and then he has this like half singing, half chill, half rap before the
yeah,
chorus, which I love too.
yeah. Yeah, I think the lyrics. Actually, I thought of something different last time we talked about this, but the lyrics that stand out to me, looking at it right now, there's plenty of people like me, all outsiders like me,
Mm-hmm.
all unashamed and all unafraid to live out what they're supposed to be. That I think
Yeah.
captures like
Yeah.
this song in this album. And again, like Lecrae is not saying like he's unique in this. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone is unique in the way that they have encountered this struggle of feeling out of place, and there's a community in that, in that feeling, in that idea.
Yeah. I love that part too. Even just his delivery with like the ad libs. I love it. Like I feel like a lot of this album's I just like this period of rap. Like I do like Restoration, but some of the like more trap inspired songs with like some of the ad libs just I don't really care for. But with this album, I kind of enjoy a lot of that more.
Yeah.
Like me, like I just like that part of it. You know, it makes me smile.
Yeah.
And like listening to old like Gambino and Chance, it's like I like this era. It's just fun.
And the outro, I think, is pretty good
Oh,
too. I can't see who the singer is,
I think
but
it's Dustin Dab Bowie.
oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and it's just such a great song. And I was kind of saying how it kind of fits with a few of the other songs as like an act one, setting up the idea of the album, and it's genius. Like the first time I listened to it, I was almost like kind of cringing because I only thought about it as like, oh, all these, let's like all the Christians and all Lecrae, let's all like kind of lament in us being outsiders and like not of this world and have a lot of like sympathy. And I just like, come on, man, like grow up. But it's genius, and I love it now because it's like a broad outsider where it's like he's like somebody from hip hop culture and he's black and doesn't fit into this like Christian culture. So he feels like an outsider when it should be like the place that leaves the 99 and finds the one. It's like the most inclusive community, but then in reality, he talks about a lot of the broken aspects, not just of church communities, but of human nature.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. It's not just about being a Christian, and I think that's the point that a lot of Christians I think revel in, like
Mm-hmm.
being unique from the world, which I think Christians are. I mean, every religion is unique from another religion,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like Christians, like we are set apart as called by God, but also like we can relate to other people, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Like that's not a bad thing for us to
Yeah.
be able to have relatable experiences that other people can connect with.
Yeah. And I still love that line of I'm not trying to eat, I'm trying to feed these folks. Martin Mandela. Yeah, we need
Mm.
these folks. We believe these folks. We can be these folks. There's just so many like beautiful lines. I'm always like dumbfounded at like how long would a line like that take because it rhymes perfectly and it's like poetry, but it's so profound and deep on like many levels.
Yeah.
And then Welcome to America, which it's so perfect and it's like the perfect kind of storytelling of looking at the three different characters. And the big thing I took away listening to it today was like the kind of African tribal drums. It honestly reminded me of Black Panther because every time I hear that soundtrack and the little drums, I get so like just pumped up.
Yeah.
And mixing that with like hip hop drums, but then also like the different nuanced characters, it's like such an eclectic song that is like a melting pot, which I love.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I was just thinking about how we get to Dirty Water. This is a little bit of a preview, I guess, but one of the themes in Dirty Water that I think is really clear is like people feeling or being trapped
Mm-hmm.
in the circumstances that they were born into through generations and generations and generations. And I think that comes out. I haven't thought about it, but I think it comes out in Welcome to America as well.
Yeah.
Like each of these people, the three people that you were just talking about, like the first verse obviously connects to Dirty Water in the same way,
Yeah.
just being black and being oppressed under
Mm-hmm.
a system. And I think veterans, like that's a group of people who are often neglected once they
Yeah.
come back from war.
Especially in hip
And
hop culture, like that's like the most like kind of opposite thing to talk about.
yeah, yeah. And same thing with immigrants. Like that's a group of
Yeah.
people that get neglected, very easily, and it's hard to get out of
Yeah.
those circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Wait, dude, I'm stupid. I was like, why do they all have connections? And that's the connection. They're all like trapped in their
Yeah,
own situation. Like that's crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah, and this is another one where I think like this is not again, this is 2014, so a lot of people have been saying similar ideas as Lecrae is saying for a
Hmm.
while. But I do think like in a Christian context, especially like a person who up to this point like was a very Christian
Hmm.
like worship leader in a lot of senses.
Hmm.
Like I don't see any other worship leaders, talking about things like this, at least back then.
It comes to do with like in dirty water. You're talking about like the faucet analogy.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to look at the root of these things before you can worship.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Like I mean, obviously there's room for both, but it's you're not going to get anywhere if you're just going to keep, you know. It's kind of like later on, and I think in the next song or in Nothing, he talks about like selling poison. It's like we have to stop selling poison. You know, we need to like fix ourselves.
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
real stuff.
Yeah. Which a lot of people are afraid to talk about. But this is
Hmm.
Lecrae, I think, taking that head on.
Yeah.
Like, let's not be afraid.
Mm. Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like the first three or four songs don't even have like if you just listen to them, because I think he did a lot of these on like he did Welcome to America on Jimmy Fallon and Nothing on Today's Show and All I Need Is You, Good Morning America and stuff. It's just like crazy that a lot of these songs you wouldn't even realize are like biblical or like I noticed a lot of the like values in them are super biblical. It's just there aren't like explicit, references that sound kind of not cringy because that's like the wrong word because some of them are good. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's like him. It's not like he's a Christian rapper, it's just his soul.
Yeah, he's not hitting you over the head. He's just like
Mhm.
being himself, which is good
Yeah.
because when you're being yourself, it's gonna come out naturally.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, it's
he.
it's kind of like he's because he won Grammys for like from here on out. I guess Gravity, he won his first Grammy, but like, he's like not just preaching to the choir. He is trying to preach to like the world.
Yeah, yeah, and not just preach his life, but also like just preach truth,
Yeah,
which obviously his life is not. My life does not necessarily equal truth either.
yeah. And then the next song is "Say I Won't," which is super super great. And one thing is like, so Andy Mineo is on this track, and I do like him, and I've checked out some of his newer work, but I think his verse doesn't hold up, to be honest with you. I
Oh,
mean,
really?
like his jokes are like, it's like you feel a little like pity laugh, in my opinion. He has a line about like don't slip at 3 a.m. and then something about Instagram. It's just like I don't know, been there, done that, and I think Lecrae kills it. Like he definitely, they're in the right order.
That's funny. I feel like I kind of like this feature. I think they fit well together, I guess is how I would describe it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I think about them like separately, like who's is better, but I think they kind of have similar themes that they're talking about. Actually, I think Lecrae's probably is better. I probably agree with you on that,
Hmm.
but I don't necessarily like separate them from each other. I think they both kind of like are continuing, this idea of like say I won't do this, say I
Yeah.
won't, actually
Stand out.
be real about this.
Yeah, and to like be different and to like they have their sleeves, heart on their sleeves with their open books in this song.
Yeah. Which Andy Mineo, I think, also just to plug him, like he's gone through this whole journey too. I think of learning how to be real in his music,
Hmm.
and in a lot of ways, his music is at least I feel like personally, it's at least as real, if not realer in some ways than Lecrae's.
Hmm.
Depending on what you're listening to.
Yeah, and NF is another rapper in their vein that I love, and I think he's kind of in the footsteps of what Lecrae laid down
Yeah.
for how to be a good like I don't want to say Christian rapper because like NF and Lecrae have said the same thing almost word for word. And I also love that Lecrae after this and All Things Work Together, he's on his independent label. He's not attached to Columbia, so he
Mm-hmm.
just makes all of his decisions. I don't know about his book actually. I mean that's probably still self-published,
Yeah.
but I mean they're just like so artistic and yeah Andy Mineo too. Like again I don't know as much about him, um, and I don't like hate his verse. I was just kind of having some fun, but yeah. To me,
And
the only yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying I love the dubstep line and the hook itself definitely sounds like kind of EDM-y with my brain. I don't know what it reminds me of, but
Yeah. But I was just gonna say, I think I was just reminded I that around this time, at least for me, is when I discovered like kind of emo rap. What
hmm
I don't know how else to call it, but like kind of like softer rap,
you mean
like
like Drown?
yeah, kind of like down, just like people getting into their feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mostly am thinking of Juice World, which he didn't come out
No,
in the
literally,
era.
Drown reminds me of Juice World. That's why I said
Yeah,
that.
they're in the same vein,
hmm
and so it's kind of interesting, like because I feel like this whole album, it's not conventional emo rap or it's not conventional like sad boy rap, but
Yeah.
the content's kind of similar.
Yeah, it's emotional. And this was
Yeah,
way before that was like a thing too.
yeah.
One thing I don't know if you're hip to this group. I've told you about them a few times, but Brockhampton are like super good, and they're in that in a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I've listened to some of their stuff.
Yeah, so that song's nice. I remember like that was his encore too, and it was funny because like a lot of the songs I knew from All Things Work Together, but then just seeing him live, he played a lot of these songs from Anomaly, and that's how I learned them in 2017, which is sad because like I wish I knew these before. Like if these would have, yeah, I wish I liked hip hop in 2014. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't like. I liked it when it was like sampled in a dubstep song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
I liked dubstep when they were sampling a hip hop song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that a lot. I mean, honestly, they share a lot in common.
Yeah.
Dubstep is like dub from Jamaica. It's like reggae that's more bassy and less vocal, and
Yeah.
then also has a little bit of hip hop and has some house from like England and like London. So,
Yeah.
or it's called two step. So that's how they get the step name. Yeah,
Nice.
I could talk. I could do a three podcast series on that. Nothing like I told you, just because I this is like a song that was new to me, even though it was the first single. You were saying, but like the first 5 seconds just like instantly make me like remind me of like Ty Dolla Sign or DJ Mustard, and I'm just like really like
Mhm.
abrasive and turned off. But then it gets like really good, and I don't like the singer. I like the lyrics, but then I love when
I
Lecrae
think
comes
right.
in.
Oh, never mind. It's not Lecrae. Okay,
No,
I thought.
no. So yeah, Lecrae does the "I ain't talking about nothing," like, but
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
we go again. Yeah, that, I don't like that part of it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I One of the things that I've always thought about this song is Lecrae obviously talking about rap that is diminutive. I'm
hmm
not sure if that's the right word,
And to me,
but
it was like more like pop music. Like you talked about the radio and like get the song out
yeah,
of my head. Like I remember waking up one day and like "Work" by Rihanna was just stuck in my head totally randomly. And I don't listen to that song, but it was just
yeah,
work. Like,
yeah. I think he's talking about music that's like that's not very creative and stuff like that,
mm,
and he is trying to call for people, just being more real in his music. And I've always
yeah,
thought like this is kind of also for him like a check for himself, like compared to some of his older stuff, which is not bad. But he has said how he struggled with being real in his music and wanting to put up a front of being like a good Christian and doing good Christian things and talking about sounding like he was in seminary. That's something that
hmm
he talked about in his book.
yeah.
Like he was proud. Someone asked him, "Are you in seminary?" And he was like, "No, I'm not, but I'm glad you thought I am." That sort of thing.
Yeah, I love the outro too. Like him just like speaking very. I don't know if it was from an interview or what, but I love the line about selling poison to people and time to talk about real things and building each other up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great message, and it's like it has that mainstream appeal too.
Yeah, actually, I agree with that. It does sound like, and this goes with what you were saying earlier. Like there are themes that are based in scripture, I think, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not explicit. They're not like, oh, there's a verse right there. It's more like just revealing
Yeah,
what he sees as truth.
yeah, and it's kind of crazy too. Like all the like dark lyrics on the different songs. I mean the darkest song is like one of the last songs, but I mean, it's still crazy that this music is like something that you would give to a kid because it doesn't have like, it's not explicit, but I don't know, this is like my theory just from doing the podcast. It just hit me of like, it can affect your heart differently, even though they're not swearing. But that stuff is also even more important to hear. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's something you want to like be there with little Timmy and like talk to him about like abortion or
yeah,
about like colorism. Like, I love how he addresses those things where like you could totally miss it, but it's in there if you're like trying to learn and searching for
yeah,
the deeper stuff.
yeah. Which I think is like what he wants people to be able to do in
Mm-hmm.
their music, which he's talking about in that. And like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna make a song, like it should be of substance,
Yeah.
ideally.
Yeah, he says like to paraphrase a quote from this song, him talking about it. We sent people to the moon, yet all we hear on the radio on the top charts are uninspiring, monotone, self-degrading songs. Like,
Mm.
why? We need to do something bigger with our art,
Yeah,
which I love. Like, that's my struggle with hip hop was like looking at it. Why I didn't like it because I thought it was just like party music, and I didn't think it was like I was like the typical like parent. I hate how I was in like high school and earlier.
yeah,
But I've really expanded my circle even this year to not just listening to like Kendrick and NF and Lecrae and like Chance, but like I mean, because after Big Day, I needed something else. I needed to find some other stuff.
really.
But I'm still picky. But you know,
Yeah, gotta diversify, I guess.
yeah. Especially with lockdown, it's music has helped me a lot,
Yeah, yeah,
and I love that too. Like, because I think music in nothing, it's like he's talking about music that doesn't really help you, but there is music that can like really change you.
yeah,
Dude, the next song is my favorite, and I have been listening to this in parts over and over because I'm like sampling the outro for this song to make a bigger song, and I've like redone the bass and the guitar, and
yeah,
I'm in love with it just straight up. Like, oh man, I don't know how you feel about this song, but it's probably my favorite.
yeah. I think it's certainly in my top five or so. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a good song. I think All I Need Is You is probably my favorite off the album.
Mm-hmm.
But this song, I think, is very relatable, very real,
Mm-hmm.
but also like it's well put together as
Yeah.
a song. Like I think like the singing part fits really well with like the way the verse is constructed and the way that it's
Yeah.
um
Totally. And he
and
sings too, which I love. Or
yeah,
he does like he does that more in Restoration. I noticed in this song he has a lot of, or in this album he has a lot of guest singers. But I love in this album when he does his own singing and hooks.
mm. And it's really easy, like just on the lyrical level, like it's really easy
Mm-hmm.
for me to get caught up in my head and like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, like worry about what other people think about you
Yeah.
and want to be a people pleaser and those sort of things. So I think that's like another benefit that this song has is that
Mm-hmm.
aspect of relatability. Like I like so he says in high school we tried to act all tough. I remember a couple of
Mm-hmm.
times I couldn't back that up. I didn't like necessarily try to act tough, in high school, but I think I definitely tried to put up a front and
Mm-hmm.
put up an image of like being the cool guy, being the chill guy, all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So that's definitely relatable. Most people probably can relate to that.
Yeah, I love like in the chorus, it's kind of hinting at like how he worries how his fans view him. And then I love the like Jesus, 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 Jesus to all my haters.
Yeah.
And then what does he say right after that? For the
For those
ones
who
that
think
think I
I
forgot
forgot.
him and the ones who won't let me say it.
Yeah.
So it's like I was criticizing him for the same reasons, and he addresses this like years before I even knew who he was.
Yeah.
So I think that's dope that he's like, man, am I like too Christian or not Christian enough? And like he's just being him. But I relate to that too, because like I worry about what people think of me, even though I'm not famous, and we're not made to be famous. You know what I mean? Like our brains are not capable, so I understand him having to vent this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also looking at Bible on my dresser that could teach my pain a lesson, but I'd rather not address it.
Yeah.
Which I think he mentions Bible, but that's probably true for people who don't use the Bible as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to address your pain
Yeah.
and the things that you've experienced.
Yeah,
Being
like yeah,
separated.
even if it's not the Bible, like you still know what you've done wrong or what you need to.
Yeah,
It's like I know I need to brush my teeth, but I just want to sleep.
facts.
I just want this Travis Scott burger. I know it's gonna go straight to my cholesterol,
Yeah, was a mistake.
but I always feel gross after McDonald's. Like I I don't know. Maybe it's my metabolism slowing down.
Yeah, I just don't eat it enough. So
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever eat it again. I was thinking about that. I was like, what is a restaurant if like my group was going, would I like just reject? Like, cause I'm a people pleaser. I think that's one. I would just like, sorry.
yeah, I mean, if there's a Chick-fil-A right next door, I'd
Yeah,
probably go to Chick-fil-A.
I was thinking about that because I was looking around. I was in a little center. I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I could go across the street. Chick Fil A's right
Yeah, yeah,
there. And then Anomaly is a great song, and this kind of to me finishes Act One of like setting up his background and who he is and like what it's all about. But I love this song, especially like the music being kind of outcasty, as he references, and being very southern sounding, which I love that sound.
yeah. The first time, I don't know if it's the first time, but one of the stronger memories I have of this song is actually not this song. It's him using this verse on a freestyle,
Hmm.
and like I was on Sway in the morning, maybe the
Mm-hmm.
same year, like in the fall or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and he used part of this verse for that freestyle. And I did like one of the memories I have is him, saying the lyrics, and when he gets to you'll find another insecure man sitting in a two-seater, like everyone in the room was like, like feeling, and like
Yeah,
I
that's
think like
real.
it's a strong song or a strong lyric, kind of like what I was just talking about with the high school thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the same sentiment, I think.
Yeah.
People putting up a front in their music, but really like it's just a mask to
Yeah.
hide the things that you're actually insecure about.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that. And just like him describing what Anomaly is, I love just the delivery of it. And I love too, I feel like he's a rapper that's just like, I don't know, he's just really artistic in the art of lyricism and wordsmithing. And like, I can just easily understand a lot of his words. And like, I don't know, he's just really clever and great. But I love this delivery, especially because it's just like laying it all out.
Yeah,
Very
I think
encouraging.
also like I was kind of just ragging on the guy who's insecure and stuff like that. But he does say, nobody ever told him he could be more than he is. Inside, he's a leader, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the positive side of that. Like if when you buy into your insecurities, that's all you see, and you're not able to see, your full potential
Mm-hmm.
and how you can be more, which kind of goes into nothing as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he wants people to know and to understand.
And dude, this is Zombie right here, hoping I could date a cheerleader, chasing all the Barbies. I mean,
Yes,
you can't forget it.
pretty
You
strong.
gotta, like we were saying, it's like there's a lot of similarities with his albums. It's like life has cycles, and you're never really done with life. Every day is a new battle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you could think it's repetitive, but the reality is that that's just real life. Like that's just the way life goes. You battle through things.
I mean, you eat a Travis Scott meal, you watch the 90210 music video, and then you chase Barbies. That's how it happens.
That's what's next on my calendar. I got my calendar ready.
Oh my gosh. That's such a good reference. I'm so proud of myself. Dude, Timepiece too. Speaking of another, I think hook that he lays down, which is great.
Yeah.
And I love this one. I love like the speed of the song. I don't know. That stuck out to me, which it's kind of about watches and time ending. But it's
Mhm.
not like a stressful song, even though it's like apocalyptic a little bit.
Yeah.
I love this one though.
Yeah. We were talking about him. A lot of these first couple of songs not being explicitly Christian,
Hmm.
which he kind of like talks about here. The man with the man in the sky.
Yeah.
Got the rapper doesn't realize that the man in the sky is there, or doesn't think that he's there, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's like the way that he's operating. And sometimes it feels like that, like that's real. Sometimes you
Yeah.
aren't able to access that and feel God's presence.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love too this about consumerism because like the last year I've definitely had that void that I filled in that way. Like I got into sneakers, I got into clothes, I bought myself a little watch over here, and I literally like once lockdown hit, I was like I made a rule that I'm not gonna buy clothes or shoes until I'm 30 because I am stocked now, and I also like don't want it to be a because it's just like there's no, it's not gonna change me. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it will. It's like the survival instinct brain. It's like do it, it'll be great. But then it's like it doesn't learn. That part of my brain never learns. So then it's like I'm just the same person once I buy these new shoes.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think the other thing I would say for this song, kind of what you were just talking about, like the real world application of this.
Hmm.
I've always connected it to Kendrick Lamar, which I think we've talked about, and like just the way that it sounds and like the content of the song, I think kind of
Hmm.
sounds similar to Kendrick generally, but like specifically, um, what's it called? Swimming pools is what
Yeah.
it always reminds me of. And
Yeah, it's
actually,
a
I think
yeah.
I'm trying to remember it, but I know I've seen a version or I've listened to a version of Swimming Pools with Lecrae on it, like someone
Mm,
just remixed it,
yeah.
and I don't remember what song that's from. I don't think it's Timepiece,
Hmm.
but it seems they would be compatible.
Yeah, they both have like a mellow, somber sound.
Yeah, definitely.
If that's swimming pools, this next one is backseat freestyle, as far
Mm,
as the beat.
okay, yeah, that's a good analogy.
But this next song is one of my favorites, and it's one I didn't know, and it just like it hit me with the beat, but also just how insanely genius the lyrics were. Because like I didn't quite understand. I knew it was like dirty water talking about, I guess, baptism not really cleaning your soul, but like it being dirty water, so it's like not really helping. But I
Hmm.
didn't realize just how like deep it went, and just it's just a genius song.
Yeah, I like with the image of water, being so consistent about the song or throughout the song. I like first like the image of water being like people going to Africa and digging wells, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
actually like making connections with people and
True.
like so you're giving water, but you're not giving like real water. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, with the woman at the well. Like he
Mm-hmm.
can give you water, but he can give you like eternal, living water.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a similar thing with the other use of water, which I think is like poison, like you were talking about earlier.
Oh,
Like
dude, and he talks about like not wanting to get to know them because he's just reading Daniel. He's just like a Pharisee, pretty much.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely something. I wonder, like, I don't remember. I'll have to look at that passage because, well, she references the prophets, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget exactly. I'll just look at it. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I was gonna say the other use of water, being poison and stuff like that, and like people are like black people in particular. I think he's talking about maybe we have water, but the wells have been poisoned, for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like lead, like lead poisoning in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Like that has long term consequences on people.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, and then talking about like drinking champagne too, and like, um, I don't know. It's just like they're celebrating in Africa, but then like, it's just like such a selfish. America is just such a selfish country,
Yeah.
and we sadly apply that to how we set up like church and religion, and it's also just like I mean, even in poorer areas, they just have like worse water and worse sanitation too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely the idea that Christianity is the white man's religion. Like I've heard
Mm-hmm.
that a lot. Um, and I don't know if Lecrae is referencing that like specifically, but I think we could definitely make some parallels to that,
Yeah,
where people who were professing to be Christians are the same people like throwing people into slavery, and not just slavery on the account of race, but also modern day slavery too. That
yeah,
obviously is still ongoing, and people are just kind of sitting by and watching it happen.
yeah,
Um, so that hypocrisy is very clear.
yeah, and it's a dark song too, talking about like bodies floating and blood flowing from the ground, and no filters for the dirty water. It's just like you think about like hurricanes or things that just like wipe out, especially poor people that have nowhere to go or no backup, no security, no support net.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just sad like how I watched a video on this recently and it was like analyzing why some countries are just okay with poverty existing in their country. They're just used to it. It's just weird. Like we care more about like third world countries than like 10 miles, 5 miles away.
Yeah. Well, it's like he says, if they think about no soft stuff, it's not about that.
Yeah, and I love how the song addresses like colorism and like um, stuff like that, and in slavery and how it can like um, affect generations and how that leads into how people are viewed. It's because I learned a lot about that from dissect analyzing Kendrick's material, so it's kind of cool to see that like come back in.
Mhm. Well, that's an idea people are still, struggling to grasp
Hmm.
today, like the generational consequences of slavery. That's something like still people are having to debate about it,
Yeah, even though
unfortunately.
like it's crazy that some people still knew their slave master that are walking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, some people actually, I heard about a woman who, like, her family was still almost essentially in slavery to the original people that held the land. It was just that they
hmm,
were working instead of actually being slaves, but their working conditions were not good.
yeah,
And this is like within the past 50 years.
yeah.
So that sort of stuff is still happening.
And like Lecrae mentioned on an interview that his wife, they were trying to buy a house and they wouldn't sell it to her because she sounded black. So he had to call and like give a super like white voice to
Mm,
let them take him seriously. And then they're
yeah,
talking about a car dealership. So it's just like crazy just how much it's baked into culture in America,
yeah,
or probably in the
definitely.
world. But
Yeah.
that's a banger though, even though it's depressing.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I think is like a hard banger. Like it's not a banger because it's enjoyable to listen to,
Hmm.
but it's like you want to listen to it because of the rawness
Yeah.
and like how real he gets.
And I think that's intentional that he's like using hip hop as a vehicle to it's
Mm,
like a Trojan horse and then he comes at you with like this like deep heart-wrenching stuff.
yeah, yeah, I think that's a good point.
And then Wish, the next song is probably it's another one I really love. Um, another I guess this is a singer on it, but another really relatable idea of like wishing and fantasizing and for me just like wishing I didn't make certain mistakes is very relatable.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, he kind of says it. Uh, I wish I could have worked on my jump shot. On my jump shot. That's too
Yeah.
real for you, bro. My jump shot is broken.
Oh, in the documentary, he showed this clip of him being like 10 and talking about his three wishes when he's like an adult.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
gotta watch it. It's a really well. It's only like 30 minutes too. It's on
Yeah,
YouTube, so
that's
I
dope.
recommend everybody check that out. But yeah,
Yeah,
one of them is like he wants to like be all strong and he shows himself dunking.
that's funny.
Man, wish nobody had to sell crack. Then I may have seen my dad a little more. That's like the third line. Like he just keeps going so deep and like brutal with every song. It's great. But
Yeah, yeah. I like when he says, um, "I got a whole lot of goals I wish I could achieve. I'm gonna lose my mind."
mm,
Because I think like
mm,
we have so many things that we want to do, and
mm,
like the reality is that we barely get to do any of the things that
yeah,
we have what we want to do in our life. Which on one level, like that's kind of depressing,
yeah.
which I think fits with the song. Um, but I think he does offer some hope to some degree in the rest of this album.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but it's like it's definitely sobering
Yeah,
to
this
think
to
about
me
that.
is like definitely act two because he talks about human struggles and struggles he's experienced, like fear, materialism, worry for the end of the world, um, racism, wishing for like we were talking about the song. The next song is definitely um, about like mistreating women, I guess, or like ruining relationships, being a bad man.
Yeah,
Which I don't love this song for sure. I was tempted to skip it, but I left it on in the background today.
yeah. This is definitely one that I skipped when I was first listening to it. you know, 6 years ago.
Can you
But
read
I
this
don't know.
read this one out loud? This line. How is he trying to what does that mean?
Looking out for little mamas with the fat ass.
What? Like what? That's so weird.
I think it's like I think it's like, have you ever heard someone say that so and so is fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's playing on, but also like
Okay.
ass, like somebody's ass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
It's just some wisdom. You know, this is like proverbs for like a new generation right here.
That's funny. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what he's saying. I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with anything that he says on this song.
Yeah, you don't want no problems with him, yeah.
Yeah, no problems.
Gee.
Ain't no problems.
Or you'll find yourself in the obituary.
Yeah.
I do love how this one goes into All I Need Is You because it kind of talks about like adolescent Lecrae versus the love he's kind of found in his wife. Was he married at this time?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he actually he tells a story in his book. So he had been through a lot, coming to faith
Hmm.
and realized that he needed to be more consistent and get his life together basically.
Hmm.
And so he knew his wife. I think he had said like 7 years before. When he first got to college, they had
Wow.
met in Bible study or something like that. So he knew her for a long time and he knew her really well.
Hmm.
And so he goes up to her and he's like, "Hey, I think you're a great person, and I want to pursue you with the intent of marriage." And she was like, "Okay, let's do it." And then I think it's 4 months. I'm pretty sure it's 4 months later they're engaged, and four
Wow.
months after that they got married. So it's a wild story, but
Yeah.
he knows what he wants. She knew what she wanted,
Yeah.
so I respect it.
They got some beautiful kids and great house.
Yeah,
She seems like a rock for him for sure. And it's sad. I think he talks about like almost like divorce on this new book. So
yeah, I've seen that.
the story continues.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that probably has to do with some of the things that he talks about here, like struggling with being real and struggling with like
Hmm.
casting all his burdens on his wife
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not doing anything, not helping out his wife in return, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it's a weird thing because I always obviously saw the comparison with this song and like God versus his wife, but it's like a double edged sword where it's like a beautiful love song, but it can also be um, dangerous to misplace that kind of responsibility.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's where like emotional intelligence comes in,
Hmm.
and I don't know, maybe that's something he would say he's had to learn about. And I will say for somebody like to get into marriage like that quickly, again, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but
Yeah,
that might be that might be something you'd have to consider jumping into a relationship that quickly.
I mean that's a month before the 90-day fiance cut off. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're still together, so I
yeah,
give
no,
them
yeah,
props. Yeah, this song is definitely. I think it's my favorite. I think it is. I feel like the lyrics and the way the flow of the verses fits the beat really well, and I don't even mind that it's like soft in
hmm,
quotation marks that it's like about his wife.
yeah.
I don't mind that because I think it's that good of a song.
All right, explain to me this line. What do you think is the subtext here?
All right, when they be dressing less and I be wanting to show off a stunt, there ain't nothing to want. You give me all that I need. All I need is you to keep the fire burning for me. When they be dressing less and I be wanting to show off a stunt.
No, it's the second line.
Oh, there ain't nothing to want. You give me all that I need. All right, so I think what he's talking about is like he's talking about like oh, actually this is something that he brought up in his book. When he goes on tours, sometimes he gets women making passes at him
Hmm.
and trying to get his number and stuff like that, or give him their number, and he says like he just gives it to his manager and his manager just throws it away. So maybe
Oh,
that's just what he's talking about, like women, they're trying to tempt him, and he wants to give into that, but he knows that he's got his wife, and his wife is holding him down,
Yeah.
so he doesn't need it.
Dude, big on you for connecting it. I was just trying to mess around with you a little. But no, that's
Always
dope
think like
because
a
I
peak.
mean, he's a huge like we were just both thrown off by how huge he is, but he is an attractive dude for how old he is, honestly.
Yeah, he's a big dude, man. That dude is big. That's why he wanted to be a baller. That's why he
Yeah.
wanted to be a baller.
If only he could have been a little bit taller. Is that one of the
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you saw this, but he talked about this recently, where he was at a party or something like that, and he met Michael Jordan,
mm,
and he was talking to him, and Michael Jordan was like, "Yo, man, if you ever need anything, just let me know. If you ever want to, practice or anything like that."
wow.
And he thought he was a player. He didn't know like he was
Oh,
around.
that's so great.
Yeah,
Man, he could get Michael and Shaq on a track. That'd be dope.
Shaq's not a bad rapper. Shaq is not a bad rapper.
I meant the get some
Oh,
double album on that dubstep, man.
yeah. Shaq is DJing now.
Yeah.
He can
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh. Um, the next song is probably my least favorite, but I do appreciate how they turn their voice into a guitar, which I was messing around with the distortion plugin on my production software, and like you can turn anything into a guitar if you add enough distortion, but it's still pretty cool for sure.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I think um, sounds like a worship song,
Hmm.
and I think the singer, she does like actual worship music, and that's obviously probably why. Um, but I do think like in terms of the content of like feeling like the need to give in and give up and lean on something else,
Hmm.
like that's very real, and
Hmm.
that connects with themes of this album for sure.
Yeah, and like the last song, like I feel like with All I Need Is You, it kind of starts a little bit Act Three of like kind of building it back up and like once he's fallen and like all that, now he's trying to you know be save. I mean, it's talking more about other people, not just him, but
Mm. Yeah.
restoration. Not to overuse that word.
And I think I mentioned I don't remember which song it was a couple songs ago about like how Lecrae is kind of like pointing a problem, painting a
Hmm.
problem, and we'll see the answer later. I
Yeah.
think this song and Broken, one of the reasons maybe they sound so worshipy is because like he's revealing God as the answer, and so like
Yeah.
kind of like giving praise to God for that,
Hmm.
and that might be why it sounds like the way that it does.
Yeah. The next song is definitely a favorite of mine,
Yeah,
and I almost can't think of another song that's like so vulnerable. I mean, like some of this stuff, I don't know if many people would want to tell any human, period, let alone like, the world. It's crazy.
yeah, I agree. I can't think of any other rap song that has this sort of content on it and also has it in a like I could see someone talking about this like as an audio clip or something like that, like they splice it into their song,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
to put it into a song, like an actual song and have it be
yeah,
like a legitimate song,
yeah,
that's one of the things I think stands out about this is like he's being real, but he's also like the craft that he put into telling that story,
yeah,
well done, and should be applauded, I think.
yeah. And I love the chorus too. I love like I'm always what's the word? I always love like high pitched kind of female stuff like that. It reminds me
Mm-hmm.
like NF does that a lot too.
Yeah.
And in like Lucked Up, that's a really good similar kind of sound.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like that this song is on this album. I mean,
Hmm.
he's already talked a lot about, some of the things that he struggles with, but this is a very both of these things I think are very real ways that, people can like immediately look at and be like, okay, I understand. Like I
Yeah,
understand what you're trying to express
yeah.
and, the emotions that you're going through.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's like the practicality of putting this here. Like immediately, like people key on it and recognize what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And the next song is Broken. which I definitely like a lot of the music. Again, I don't love the singer, but a lot of the lyrics are good. And I think I mentioned this to you, but I wish this was kind of the end of the album. It just kind of, to me, it has like a nice finale kind of vibe to it. But
Yeah, yeah. I think it kind of ties everything together with he has gone through, especially like right after Good to Bad to Ugly or Good Bad
mhm,
Ugly. Like I think you can see the brokenness in that song,
yeah,
and this song like kind of recapitulates that
hmm
and
yeah,
puts that all together. Like he's definitely broken, but we're also broken, and that's like another point, a key point I think. Like
yeah.
we're
That's what the
all,
song is.
especially because like there's other characters in Good Bad Ugly other than Lecrae.
Yeah,
So it's not just him; it's everyone.
yeah. It's cool too. I feel like this last part of the album almost shows like, um, kind of like fellowship. Like he admits something, like kind of repents and like, or just like, what's the word I'm looking for? When you just like tell somebody your struggle.
Confess.
Yeah, he
Oh,
confesses
that's
in
good.
Good, Bad, Ugly. Broken is like fellowship, and then Messengers is like, yay.
Mm. I like. I mean, I think this is a scriptural reference, but we are outsiders, outliers. Outcry is loud. The meek inherit the earth. God
Mm,
opposes the proud.
mm,
That's like I feel like what you were saying. This is a good way to end. This is a good part. I think.
mhm,
Is this the last verse? Yeah, I think this is the last verse on the song, and this is a good way, to tie everything together.
mhm.
The meek inherit the earth. Like that's uplifting, and I feel like
Yeah.
if we were all to undergo the sort of same reflection, the self reflection that Lecrae has described
Mhm.
in this album, like we would all be in the same place that he's at,
Yeah.
and I think that's where he wants us to be.
Mhm. And then yeah, Messengers is definitely a hit, and definitely my problem partly is like I don't like major keys or like happy songs that often. Um,
Yeah,
which is kind of like weird. Like I should like happy things, but
yeah. This one of Broken, Given, and Messengers, I think this one I like the most of those.
mhm.
But those three might be my least favorite on the album.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, just same thing as Broken and Given. They're not bad. And in fact, they're good. I think they are good. Like I don't want to say that they're bad because I think they are good.
Mhm.
So I think lyrically, I don't have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I definitely think as like a conceptual, like as a project, this is definitely one of the best albums. Well, a lot of his albums are like that, but he does really good because a lot of rappers, I feel like, well, like mixtape culture, you just kind of put out a lot of songs, but yeah, he does a good job at like giving you a story, and he shows that too by writing books. I mean, he's just that's who he is.
Yeah,
So because I'm coming from it as somebody who didn't grow up with this and only listened to it this year, except for a few of the singles. So I think it stands up almost perfectly. The only criticism is I don't like a few of the guest vocalists, and
mm,
I like in his newer material how he does more of the hooks and choruses. I think he's just talented at doing that, and I think it's kind of a product of its time. Where I think in this time there was a lot of hip hop, especially pop hip hop, like Kanye and Eminem, that had a lot of like female singers on the chorus, but then they had a verse that was rapping, so it was kind of like a pop hip hop hybrid.
yeah,
But like all I need is you is not like I think that's a good song. That's not what I'm talking about. It's more like the given, the broken, even like nothing a little bit, and like wish. Yeah.
yeah. I think in terms of it holding up, like I would first recognize like it sounds very 2014. I think
Mm-hmm.
not very, but I think you can listen to it and tell this is not something that came out in 2020.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like it has aged to some degree, but in the sense of is it still good? I think it is. It's still good as an
Yeah.
album, and the songs are still good. So it's just like when you listen to it, especially again, like you compare Restoration and even All Things Work Together to Anomaly.
Hmm.
I think honestly, I don't know. I feel like especially Restoration, like the sound of Restoration is more pleasant to me personally. Like
Yeah,
it sounds
definitely.
more pleasant and more welcoming. Like I want to listen to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Whereas Anomaly, I know it's a good album, so I know I can listen to it if that makes sense.
yeah,
Uh, so it holds up, but it like it's in its time period. I would
yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean, that's good and bad. So,
Yeah.
and I would say too, like
And
it's.
ugly.
I'd say too, this has gotten me like to be a fan of him again. I
Mhm.
lost some faith in him, like I said, for the last couple projects, and it makes sense. Like he was depressed, he was struggling with alcohol in his marriage, finding his purpose. He was struggling in the faith. He was struggling in America.
Yeah.
I'm excited to. I really want to read that book when you're done with it, and I really want to get his new book. Um, and yeah, I think his material in general has a lot to offer, and especially this album. It's still very timely. Like a lot of these messages have not changed, which is sad, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. And especially like in this period that we're in, in the racial climate, like a lot of the things that he says here are exactly the same
Hmm.
as they are right now,
Yeah.
6 years later. So I do think, like, and I've said this a couple times, but like in Christian dialogue, the conversation is different than it was back then
Yeah.
because Lecrae was very, very, very controversial. For a
Yeah.
time, there was a time where, well, not very, very, but there was like certainly a segment of Christians who
Hmm.
like hated him
Yeah.
and were completely turned off because of songs like or the because of like Anomaly and like Church Clothes and songs like that.
Yeah.
Like, we've come a long way from that period.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I hope it. Like he always preaches unity. That's like his big thing with all things work together.
Yeah,
And as much as I can get very jaded and like losing hope about the world, I do hope that we do become more unified. And honestly, I think like spaces like this, I hope are safe. And I want this to just be like definitely deep and like educational, but also just like honest and like a fun conversation. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Which I think it
and
has been.
yeah. Before you go, I definitely wanted to ask just something new you've been learning. It could be honestly anything, totally off topic. Could be deep or really fun.
Mm. Um, all right, so we were talking about with Wish, we were talking about like the way that you have so many different things that you want to try and they don't always pan out the way that you do. I'm
Hmm.
experiencing that like right now with my which isn't this isn't actually deep necessarily, but I'm writing a grant or I'm trying to write a grant
Hmm.
for my research so that I can get a larger stipend basically and be free to do whatever I want to do.
Hmm.
But like I've gone through several different project ideas in like 3 weeks and um, had to scratch and start over and write new outlines and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm not even at like the actual writing phase, I'm just at the outlining phase. So all that to say, I think I have learned from that and grown from that because it's not really been frustrating. It's been more so like, here's something new that I can try that I think fits better. And
Hmm.
so I think last time we recorded this, I talked about like practicing something and
Hmm.
working better and getting better at it, and being able to look back on what you did and be like, oh yeah, like I actually got better at this thing, and now I
Hmm.
feel good, doing it. I feel like I use basketball as an example, but I definitely feel that connection with research this week because I've seen that. Like I've seen each idea I feel like is building off of the other idea, and I'm getting closer and closer to figuring out what it is that will be like an actual good product.
Hmm.
So I think that's been a learning experience and a good thing that I can apply to other aspects of my life, and just trying to be productive in the things that I do, but recognizing that being productive doesn't always look like going straight to the thing that you want to get done. Like,
Yeah.
it's a process that you cycle through and rehash and then go back and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. That's encouraging. And that's like how I addressed healing my back for the last year
Mm.
was just like trial and error. I mean, I spent like a whole month trying different sleeping positions and just like tweaking it slightly until I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to problem solve in any problem you're having. Obviously, like research helps too. Don't just like make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Like you could try the Travis Scott burger with barbecue sauce, and then you could try it with hot sauce, and then with ketchup, and then
Yeah. I mean, you won't know unless you try. That's what they say. Got to try them all.
Oh, also, let's briefly go through our tier lists here, which I was a little bit confused on, but I'm glad you put these together. But there's like different artwork, I guess, for every song off Anomaly.
Do you have share screen set up?
Yeah, I think I can do that, and I hope it doesn't stop the record. So I'll pull up yours first.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
I'll make it the right size. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like it's still recording. So, yeah, all things work together, or not all. What is that one called?
Tier
See,
maker. No.
what is that called? All I need is you. All I need is you.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the song that I think is my favorite. All I
That
need
one's
is
good.
you.
It's a
Um,
solid song.
yeah, I think so. A tier, I have songs that I think are like legitimate quality. So we got Timepiece,
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to America, Say I Won't,
Mm-hmm.
and Good, Bad, Ugly. Those songs are all, I think, on the equal level of being like highlights from the album.
Oh, Fear is not your top five. You lied.
Yeah, I guess I did. I have Nothing in Fear is pretty close. That's the first one in B tier. I
Yeah.
think Nothing in Fear is pretty close. Um, so they're probably interchangeable. Fear, I will say, Fear is like when I first listened to this when it first came out. That was I think it was my favorite at the time.
Uh-huh.
That next one is Outsiders, and I don't know if I said this, but Outsiders is one of the ones that reminds me of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably influences how I put it in B tier. Um, I think what is that one? I don't remember. I'm gonna skip that. The next one is Dirty Water,
Yeah.
and oh no, that's not Dirty Water. Dirty Water is the one with the spiral.
Yeah. This is
Yeah, that's Dirty
Anomaly, I
Water.
think.
That's Anomaly. Yeah, I don't remember what that one is.
Timepiece?
No, I already used Timepiece.
Wish?
Oh, Wish is the middle one. That's Wish.
Oh,
The,
okay.
yeah, that one's Wish.
Yeah.
I don't, did I use? No, it's not Broken. Oh, maybe it is Broken.
Oh, yeah, it's broken because
It
that's in
yeah,
my. Yeah.
yeah, it must be Broken.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised I put it that high, but it's not a bad song.
I mean, his face is broken.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, then we have Dirty Water. Um, Down there in C tier is Messengers and Give In, I think.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that I think sound worshipy.
And
And
then
down at the
runners.
bottom is Runners. And again, I don't think it's a bad song, but this is all relative. So within the album, it's deep tier for sure.
So I had Welcome to America as my favorite, and then Fear, and then Outsiders. Um, we got Anomaly, fourth favorite. This one is which one is this?
Dirty Water.
Yeah, Dirty Water, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, All I Need Is You. So those are all like I would those hold up the best to me and they're like the ones that I would like listen to a lot, a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
And then these are all like fine. Which
Say I
one is
Won't,
yeah, Say I Won't,
Timepiece,
Wish, and
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, then we got Broken, which is like, you know, and then yeah, Nothing at the end, Messengers and uh
Good.
Give In, yeah.
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 Yeah. They're decent. They all complete the album. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade them in. I guess that's a good way to describe it. Like I'd rather have those three on the album than off the album. But if
Yeah.
I when I listen to the album, I would skip them.
That's interesting. I mean, you have the CD.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, no, like most albums, I only like half the songs, so that's how I know this is like a quality album.
mm.
Um, cool. So yeah, check out the show on any podcast platform. Also, there's a video on YouTube if you want to see our burger and our tea and our tier lists.
Facial
Um,
expressions were on point.
what?
Facial expressions were on point for the burger.
Yeah.
I was really feeling
Yeah, how do you feel now after putting that down?
it. The most recent taste in my mouth is Sprite, which I think is a good thing.
That is good. You'll get the burp soon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I still can't believe they did that. But yeah, and we'll have some music from the show that we talked about, like our favorites in the playlist for the show in the description.
Mm.
And I'll post our Instagrams down there if you want to ask us any questions or whatever. Probably not, but respect to you. And thank you for inviting me on this conversation and to, educate me and help grow me because like Lecrae's had a bit, like not as big of an influence, but still a really big influence for me.
Yeah. And let me say, because Drew put some light on me in the beginning. I'll put some light back on Drew, which I did last time we recorded, but obviously that's no longer to be. Yeah, Drew, has been a pleasure, to have conversations like this with you. I think you said this earlier, like where we can both be real with each other and learn. I think both of these conversations was interesting because like we've talked about the same thing both times, but both of them I have left and or not left because we haven't finished. But both of them, I've been through and been like, yeah, this has been like a really good conversation, and I'm glad that we had it. So it's great to be able to have these sort of friendships and relationships and all that sort of stuff. So, as you said, across, I don't know, 4 hours away probably.
Yeah.
It was for me.
Yeah, and 4 hours of talking about Lecrae overall through the whole week.
Yeah, in total.
Dude, I'm pumped to just dissect this blue hedgehog as tightly as we did this music. Like, I'm sure we can squeeze some deepness out of those chili dog lines and
yeah. I'm thinking about ordering Sonic 06 on Amazon and just binging that. I know that might not be the one we talked about. But...
Yeah, I think we should do that one and Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. So we'll plan that. I'm not gonna plan that right now as much as I want to talk about it, but we'll get Myles back in a few months and yeah, we'll do this again.
I'm ready. I'll be ready.
Cool. Yeah, peace out everyone and thanks for listening.
Farewell.